Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do a video talking about the best knife of 2022 in the category 300 to 500, we'll call it. So 3 to 500, and then I'm going to do one last category for 500 and up, which essentially is one knife, because I do not have a ton of 500 and up knives that have stuck around or that were new this year or whatever. Real quick, this is an honorable mention from the last group. I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't include this, and it's not because the knife isn't good. This happens to me all the time with this knife. Whenever I do these lists, like when I did Q1, Q2, Q3 best knife, I tended to leave this one out. And it's not because the knife isn't good. It's because it's so small, it goes into a different case of mine. And let me just try to get this lighting a little bit better for you. Sorry. All right. So it's because it goes into this valet case over here, and it's not one that just sits in my case to the right where I have all my case and like all my knives in like a Pelican case. So it just doesn't always pop right to mind. And that doesn't mean it's not amazing. I mean, yes, you could make the argument, oh, well, you don't think about it. Well, right. But it's because it's so damn tiny. And it's just, I don't know how to explain it. But this is the Urban EDC Supply Baby Barlow, designed by Justin Lundquist. Now, this would have gone in the 100 to 300 category. And the knife that won that category very easily was the TW Price Dawn here. And I gotta say, the Baby Barlow would be right up there. I know that's weird, because it's a really small knife and da-da-da-da-da, but there's just something about this knife. There's something about the size and how it works so well with this top flipper and isn't, like, awkward. A lot of times with tiny knives, like, say, the Nibbler here from Giant Mouse, it can be kind of awkward to actuate these. You know, you have to be in the right position to fire it. I've gotten really good at it, but it's just not as intuitive, you know, trying to thumb it out or just picking it up and ripping it. You can fail it like that real easily. And because of the size, you have to really kind of get into a good grip and know what you're doing. And this is one that I probably would have put in the sub $100 range, in the budget range, and it would have been pretty close to the Pinion. Now, it wouldn't have won, so we kind of have two honorable mentions here, right? We have the Ace Nibbler for the budget category, and we have the Baby Barlow for the mid-range category. Neither of them would have won. It would have been very close on the Baby Barlow. I'm not going to take back a win. So even if it would have won, I probably would just stick with the Dawn. But I don't think it would have won just because of the sheer size of it. And I do like the Dawn maybe slightly better. But I really love this. Just that inlay, the dark titanium there, the awesome action on a tiny knife. The bearings are just microscopic. But, you know, it has a couple downsides. Obviously, it's really small, but I do get a full grip on it. It has a little bit of, not stick, but like it can feel like it sometimes. Hard to explain. It's doesn't have an insert. It's titanium liner with no insert, so they carbonized the lock face or heated the lock face, and sometimes it can feel a little sticky. Not a big deal, but it's a thing. And then it kind of has a snubby tip because of the blade shape. And those are really the only two reasons. It's plenty of blade for me. It's a fantastic carry, being this tiny little deep carry clip mounted at the end here from the inside. It's just really good. I love this knife, and I cannot wait for them to hopefully come out with more iterations and different materials and stuff. It's kind of like the F5, where you want to see some fat carbon, you want to see some cool stuff, and they just haven't done it yet. So hopefully that happens with the Baby Barlow, but I wanted to put that out there and look at it close. I just think it's a gorgeous knife. And then the Nibbler, I think, is for being under $100, I think it's fantastic. Really tiny knife, but it's very comfortable in the hand, very sharp, and it does everything I need a knife to do. I just don't need a huge knife for things. It has a liner lock. This one's steel, which is honestly better on a smaller knife like this. This one's on skiff bearings. It rocks a wire clip, and it's purple anodized. Just cool overall. I think it's a sweet little knife, and that's the Nibbler. So both of those would have been close in their categories. All right, 300 to 500. Again, not going to be a lot here. I haven't kept a lot of stuff this year, but there is some stuff, and it's going to be an interesting ride here. So first up, the Sharp by Design Mini Tempest. This one, I would say, has stood the test of time. For me to keep a knife all year is pretty insane. It means I really like the knife. I bought 2 of these when they first came out early in 2022. It had to have been in like February or something like that, March, because I believe it was in the Q1, Q2, and Q3 best of. Ooh, just almost took a finger off. And this is my favorite Sharp by Design knife so far. I did pre-order the Apex, but I just didn't really love that knife very much. It didn't work great left-handed, where this one does work pretty well left-handed because it's a bolster lock. I can flick it real easy, and it has that front flipper that works really well. And you have this beautiful hand satin M390 Riot build. It's $425 knife, so take that into consideration, but it's within our price point. And on skiff bearings, I mean, look at this thing, just insane. There is absolutely no play, no rock of any kind, and it's just a guillotine, but nice and controlled, dead center. I mean, Brian Nadeau just knows what he's doing. I don't love the clip. It's a little bit pokey here, which isn't a big deal, but it's not the best clip, like, functionally. It just looks cool, and I know that's his thing. Kind of a hand satin on it. You have this dark matter blue camo fat carbon inlay. Sorry, I'm just getting confused. It's absolutely indistinguishable. Like, it's insane how good the inlay work is on this. The pivot is beautiful. The blade is beautiful. Just a straight drop point. I mean, this is kind of like your higher end TW price Dawn, really. And that knife's pretty high end in a sense. Clamshell construction. I mean, Brian Nadeau is just a master. If you ask most people who's the best custom knife maker out there, you're going to get a lot of Brian Nadeaus. Unless somebody's like a diehard fan of somebody, they're probably going to say Brian Nadeau. And there's a reason. I mean, he's an absolute maniac. And yeah, just really happy about this. I've had maybe 4 of these, I think. I had 3, I think, of the black handled ones with the gold dark matter. And then I think I've had 2 with this one. I've had the Bowie and the drop point. The drop point just is better, in my opinion, because you can flick it. As I feel it. You can flick it so much easier. The Bowie was kind of hard for me to reverse flick. That might not be universal for everybody, but it just works a lot better for me. The ergos on this knife are phenomenal. Some of the best ergonomics on a knife. And, you know, there's just, I don't know what else to really ask for on a knife and not somehow rave about it being the best knife in the world, which is weird, right? It has all the hallmarks. Great reverse flick, guillotine, controlled drop shut, wonderful top flip. I think you can even do a front flip. You can do the rollback flip. I mean, it just has everything. A good detent. Now, I did have to, that's one of the reasons I had so many, was to find the perfect one. And that was one thing I wanted to point out is, you know, I went through 4 or 5 of these because of that. You know, I had one where the detent was a little too strong, and then it didn't want to drop like that. I had one where the detent was a little too light, and it just didn't feel as crisp on deployment, you know. And this is kind of like the Goldilocks one. And I love the finish on here and the blue dark matter, but I do wish it was like Arctic fat carbon, or if this was the black handled version. Still had the hand satin blade, but it had a sort of dark tumbled frame and then gold dark matter. I prefer that colorway, but this just had the action that I wanted, so I stuck with this one. And I do have skiffs in here. They are 5mm 1/16. A lot of people will tell you this is a 3/16 pivot. That is correct, but I just find that the bearings ride better and I get better action with the 5mm, and it doesn't have any drawbacks for me. So that is the Sharp by Design Mini Tempest. Love that knife. I think the next one to come out was the Factor from Winter Blade Co. And this one took the knife world by storm. Right around Blade Show, he did the pre-order, and everybody went apeshit, including me. I didn't get the hype about it, and then I finally got one, and I was like, oh shit. And then I bought one. I got lucky on the first batch drop, and no, I didn't cheat or get help. I literally just was fast, I guess. I don't know. And I got the black on black version, and I did end up sending it to Brian at one point because I felt like I had lock stick, and he swapped this M-lock out for me, I think with a lighter one. And I believe on batch 2 you will have an extra one, and you have the option to switch to whatever you want. And then he added this little tritium vial, which I then just added a little super glue and kind of got it locked in there pretty much. But the Winter Blade Co. Factor is basically the magnet knife that everybody raved about. And it has a magnetic detent system. So you have these two magnets down here that are opposites in polarity, which you'd think they would be attracting, but they're not. And then you have those little plastic posts that keep the blade in line. Basically, auto centers the blade for you, which is fantastic. I have no play or rock or anything on this. Then you have the M-lock, which is basically a hockey puck looking thing that has a magnet on it, and it kind of pinches the blade between here and something, I don't know. I guess the lock. And then you just pull this down, kind of like an axis lock, but just on one side. And it just swings down, and then these magnets down here take over and suck it in like a detent, and it has resistance like a detent, and it's just using magnets. So it's like a magnetic detent, which fires out pretty well. I did find I had to clean it recently after loaning it out, and the detent felt lighter. And I don't know if that just was essentially, if you think about it, it's like anything else. If everything gets dirty in there, it can kind of slow things down. If you slow things down or add friction, it can make your detent feel lighter because it doesn't come out as fast or whatever. I dropped skiffs in here as well, 5mm 1/16. So far, all of these have 5mm bearings in them. You can deploy from behind with this tab, which does open like this, so be careful if you ever do that. And you can pop it like that. It's made out of G10. Pop that. I believe there's going to be replacements for these, so you can get a solid backspacer if you want. But it's just acoustically insane. The reverse flick is amazing because of that detent. I mean, really strong feeling, at least in my estimation. Feels good. You can thumb flick it, reverse flick it, you can slow roll it, and then of course you have the flipper. And the sounds are insane. This knife is incredible. It has a titanium show side, and then a it's not really a lock side, but carbon fiber lock side. Honestly, this would be the lock side, right? Show side. And I like it set up lefty better because you have this tie clip that matches the frame here instead of having it on the carbon fiber if you carry it righty. But it's super fun, fidgety knife. I mean, you can just play with it for hours. And it's wonderful. The new versions, the batch 2s that everybody pre-ordered, which was like 2,000 of them, are shipping very soon. They are in and QCing or whatever. And they have a little bit of differences. Like I said, you'll get the extra lock so you can make it lighter or stronger. I think that's just so this right here is lighter or stronger, which essentially would make your lock stronger or weaker, but it would make it easier for you to disengage or not. Still super strong either way. And then these magnets are going to be able to come out. So instead of being glued in like they are on this version, they are kind of caged with something, and you could swap them. So you can basically make your detent lighter or stronger or whatever you wanted. And I don't know if any other magnets are going to be replaceable like that. I think this system's the same on both. And what was I going to say? I think that's it. I think this is plastic or G10. It's kind of like an inlay into this pivot area. I've seen some people's it pops out. It's like glued in or something. It's obviously called the factory. You guys have seen this before. The pivot is a flathead, which is kind of weird, but I mean, it's fine. My gripes with this knife are T6 on everything but the pivot, which is a flathead. So now you need a flathead and a T6, whatever. But not ideal, where this is all T8, right? It's kind of nice. What else? I think there's one. Oh, the ergos. They're not wonderful. I mean, you can look at it. It's very square, and then you have this piece that's kind of indented. If you hold it weird, you can kind of get your hand in here. But for EDC and everyday stuff, it's fantastic. You do get this mark on the blade just from that plastic kind of guide, and it really only ends up on one side, but you can't really get rid of it. It's kind of permanent. So that's one downside too. But absolutely fantastic. On bearings, really hard to beat the factor. And this was $375. That was $425. Next knife I got at Blade Show in Atlanta, and this is the Christensen Maverick S. Now, I've had 3 of these, I think, as well. I had a micarta version I pre-ordered and a frame lock version with the Zircuti like this that I pre-ordered. And I got those. They shipped to me like while I was on my way to Blade Show or something. And I was at Blade Show. Even though I knew I had those coming, I saw this at the Fanatic Edge table, and I just like fell in love. And I kept going back, and I finally was like, fuck it, I'm just going to buy the thing, and I'll sell the other ones, and, you know, why not, right? So the base price is $300, and I think it was $360 for micarta and M390, something like that. And then the one with a tie frame lock and Zircuti. This is all Chad Nichols Zircuti. Collars, studs, backspacer, and clip. That one I believe was $465, something like that. And then this is a Fanatic Edge exclusive version that has black pearl camo carbon, all Zircuti accents, acid washed, and I believe 20 CV on this version. This one, again, on skiff bearings. I believe these are 3/16. I think I put the correct size in on this one because the action felt, I mean, really good on it. I didn't try the 5mm. You can see dead nut center. Feels fantastic. One of the really only thumb stud knives that I truly love. The blade shape and the overall silhouette just do it for me. Matt Christensen killed it on this design. I'm not normally a huge Christensen fan, like the Thug and the Dreadnought, I think it's called. The one he has with Tactile, the fixed blade. The Critical, none of those really do it for me, but this design, the Maverick S, just really speaks to me. And you add that flair with the Zircuti, where I'm not normally a full dress guy, but the way it's integrated with camo carbon and all that stuff, it just works really well here. I love the contouring. This is, to me, the best version of the knife. There is a black tie version with Zircuti, and I think a black blade that looks pretty sick too. But I really love this. I've had it since Blade Show. I mean, all three of these have been around for a while, to be honest. I mean, for me, it's pretty impressive to still have all three of these. And it's going to be hard to try to narrow this down. But the Maverick S is definitely in the running for Knife of the Year in this category. Perfect size, just wonderful ergos. You can choke up like this. Has a stupid hollow grind like the Jaeger. Just, it has a lot going for it. I really, really like this knife. And I don't know why I don't carry it more or talk about it more. Maybe because it's studs or something. I don't know. Or just because I've had it for so long now. But the D10 is so good on this example. It fires so well. The reverse flick being an inset liner lock. It's just really good. I don't think I've really tried just flicking it off the blade. Oh, see? I mean, it's just like, come on. Matt Christensen killed it on the Maverick S. All right. So, we're coming down the wire here. That might have been it. Nope. Sorry. We have a contender coming in at the last second here. The Renegade Provisions Co. GOM. This knife has come into my collection and taken it by storm. Recency bias, maybe. Badassery, for sure. I'm absolutely loving this knife. So this version is black micarta, bead blast, everything else. Then you have M390 on this beautiful Warney blade with that belt satin. And I mean, look at the action on this. You have this top flipper that works extremely well and a reverse flick from the gods. The gods, get it? Gotta miss it. Just fires so well. And not only do I have this version, I have this version. So I got two of them to start. This is actually my third one. I got a all black DLC one, and then I got a bead blast one like this with natural micarta. And I did a blade swap. So I took the satin off of that, put it onto the black, put the black on that with the natural, and I sold that because I just don't like a straight PVD blade. I prefer a black wash. So I sold that, and then my buddy sold me the... Can I do it? Yeah, I did it. My buddy sold me this one at a good price, so I ended up getting another one, and I'm kind of working on a third one. That's how much I love this knife. It's just so wonderful. I don't know how else to put the fact that I love this knife. And this sort of tux version with the black micarta, all black everything, and then satin blade is amazing. I do want to kind of try to piece together something, make it a little bit, maybe go with the bead blast collars and hardware or something. I could do some swapping. I don't know. I haven't really felt like it. Because I really do just like it blacked out like this with the satin. But I don't really need to like this, but you know how it is, guys. It's how I roll. This is the GOM from Renegade Provisions Co. It's probably one of the only knives on the table that's available. These will be at some point. These are probably sold out. These are probably sold out, but you can get them on the secondary for a good price. These are in stock on RenegadeProvisionsCo.com or whatever it is. I'll link it down below. I highly recommend this knife. It's incredible. And I think the price is good. $365. I mean, this was $495, $375, $425. Why shouldn't this be $365 or whatever it is now that it's in? I think he added like $15 after pre-order. $350 on pre-order. I mean, all but this one are made by Riot. This one's Best Tech. The other three are Riot. And the quality is up there. I mean, my opinion on the matter is that some of these guys have an eye for details. So I put Sharp by Design at the very top of that list. The way he gets Riot to just crush these contours and chamfers, and it's because his CAD file is amazing, right? Liang Ma is somebody who kind of has a similar vibe with that. And I think Chris from Renegade is right there. I think if you look at it, it's just spot on. The contouring, the way everything comes together, like it just looks cleaner than other things that come out of Riot, even though most stuff coming out of Riot is very clean, very good. This just has another level to it, I feel like. It's just one notch up, and then this is like, you know, the tippy top of the notch. You know what I meant, the ladder. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I will say, detents are about the same on these, and the stock bearings, this has the Skiff multi-rose in it. Very smooth, but you have to shake like from here down. Where this one, I mean, you still got to shake, but it's more of a glide. And I find that interesting. So I don't know if I want to go back to the stock bearings. I mean, feels solid. Could just be I over-tighten this one a little bit because I do tend to go ham. I mean, there's nothing there, and it still drops like that. And there's no complaining. I'm just saying. Reverse flick from the gods, yo. All right, so I think that's it. I just want to make sure I don't have anything else that I'm missing. Anything in my pockets. Anything in this other case. Anything? No. I think we're good. So, knife of the year. 3 to 500 category. This is hard. I think the first one I'm going to pull out is going to be the Mini Tempest. I love it. It deserves to be in this top 4, 100%. It could win. Any of these could win, honestly. But this one doesn't get carried a lot, sheerly because, I don't know why. Front flipper, I don't know what the reason is, but I love the knife and I won't sell it. So it's weird, but it's out. I think the Maverick S is so good, and that Fanatic Edge version is just stupidly good. But it's a thumb stud knife, which just turns it off for me slightly. Even though I can get into thumb studs, like that pop is amazing, but it's just not the same as reverse flicking. Yeah, I think that's just going to be the reason on this one. Beautiful knife. I love this knife. I love them all, but that one's out. It comes down to the factor, the magnetic knife. The knife that I basically crowned Knife of the Year back in May or whatever. Comes down to that versus that. Very tough choices here. I am going to give it to the GOM. I love this knife, but it has its quirks. It's a little too out there for me. Once the cool factor wore off of the magnet stuff, which, not going to lie, it lasted a long time. This is probably the knife I carried the most this year. But it was like 2 months straight and then never again. That's not true. I carried it the other day, but I love it. I really love it. There's no there's no good reason here. Man, I'm starting to change my mind. I love this knife. But the GOM it's just like, I don't know. It's almost like the GOM is something that I wish I designed, if that makes sense. Like, Chris's design language is very similar to what I think my design language is, if that makes sense. But it's way cleaner than mine, you know? It's like what I want my designs to come out like, but they don't necessarily. I don't know if that makes sense. Now, obviously, then I get those designs and I work on it with Colin, and it's way better after that. But like, yeah. Anyway, there's just something about this knife. The ergonomics are just astounding. I don't know. I just freaking love this knife. So my brain wants to choose the Renegade Provisions Co. GOM. So my brain is going to win. The GOM, the God of Mischief, is the knife of the year for the 300 to 500 price range. So there you go, guys. Lots of cool knives to check out. I kind of shrunk the list down this year, I feel like, because I just am going with what I have and what came out this year and what I, really love. I've really toned it down over the last 12 months, but yeah, there it is, the GOM, and I'm hoping to get another one too soon, so keep your eyes out for that. But let me know what you think down below. Would you agree with me on this, or do you think the Factor should have won? Do you have another knife that you think should have got an honorable mention? I mean, I could list a bunch of honorable mentions of knives that I've had in. I like a lot of knives in this category. It's probably my most purchased category. 300 to 500, that's a lot of knives. A lot of these designer knives, like stuff that I'm doing with Divo and Renegade and stuff like that. It's just a lot of those knives are in this price range. And so, but I don't have any other ones here. So there you go. Let me know what you think. I will be doing a final battle video at the end. I still have to pick the 500 and over winner. Honestly, let's just knock that out because, let's not do it. I'll wait. I'll do a separate video. But, yeah. All right. That's it. Stay tuned for the 500 and over Knife of the Year winner. And then we'll crown the victor of 2022. Who is, or what is, the best knife this year out of all the categories I've done? Let's find out. I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.